I want to ask a question and then dive deep into the topic. How yes. Okay, so before we begin, I do want to ask people like who here currently like smokes, drinks, or used to smoke or drink? Like say me in the comments. Just got back from my shower after my workouts. Okay, so yeah, let us know in the comments if you used to drink or you drink right now. Just say me. And there is a reason that we're asking that. And it's okay if you do. Yeah, so people are
Exactly.
saying that's okay. Like if you smoke, yeah, some people are dropping the leaf, so I'm getting yeah, just let us know in the comments. It's a safe space. And
Totally.
what about you? Like, did you used to smoke? Did you used to drink?
Of course. So I got really heavy into some booze, especially after Russian class in university. I have a minor in Russian, and to go and practice our Russian, we'd go for pints of beer like 3 times a week. So it kind of added up. And, all throughout, the last what? I'll be
Mm-hmm.
30 this year. I'm old, okay?
Not at all.
Um, all throughout compared to you. Anyways, um, yeah, all throughout the last like 12 years or so. Yeah, of course. Drank, smoke weed, and that's all I've done. But, it can have deep effects on you. What about you?
Ex- Yeah, exactly. So for anybody who's saying like they used to smoke or they used to drink or they're currently still smoking, actually planning on rehab in 2 weeks. So that's like a really good thing to do if you do need it. I don't drink, but I do drink, but don't smoke. Cesar said. So yeah. So for me, when I was younger, like I was in high school, and after actually like 2 years after high school, still, so I'm like 3, 4 years. I did
Mhm.
smoke cigarettes. I did used to drink. And that was something for me that in high school, like I used to save my money to like drink on weekends. And I was all or nothing
Student
person. So
life.
yeah, it was all or nothing person. So I either I'm gonna get drunk or I'm just not gonna drink. Because if you're just getting allowance, like you're not just gonna take a sip, you're just gonna like buy the strongest vodka, there is. And
Exactly.
um I used to smoke cigarettes too. So something like, hey guys, I actually remember like collecting cigarette packs in my locker. I don't know why. And I was like, ew. Like if I think about it now, I'm like, that's disgusting. Like seeing how many cigarette packs just like piled up.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how like we look at our past habits and we're like disgusted by our past selves. Like if I look at how many times like I would go for pints at after class, or like
Mm-hmm.
we were a big group of like French Canadian students. So sometimes we'd just go to the bar, order a couple pitchers, and do homework for like 5 hours while drinking.
Yeah.
Like, is that the best use of our time? Probably not. But we had fun doing it.
Exactly. And like with what Sam doing, like 100%, like you're kind of around those people who are also doing it as well. And at the same time, like
Exactly.
Sam's been working out for a long ass time. Like what you said, like over 10 years.
Since I was 14, 15. So yeah, 15 years.
Yeah, and for me, guys, like I freaking hated working out. Like you would never catch me working out. So that kind of like compared, you know, I mean, sorry, paired with smoking, drinking, just eating shitty ass food. Like I used to drink at McDonald's and just refill those cups in
Oh
McDonald's
my
and sit there
God,
and drink.
right?
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's what I want to talk about because we both used to do these things. And so I want to ask you, Sam, and you guys let us know in the comments, like, just whatever you guys think, if you guys have any questions. But what about now?
For
Like, where are
sure.
you at now?
So, on the occasion, I will have a glass of wine or two, or once in a very long time, like maybe once every year, I'll actually get to the point where I feel pretty tipsy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't smoke weed, don't smoke. And the reason why, guys, is I've understood that like I don't need it to have fun. And I knew that as a teenager too. Didn't need it to have fun. All my group of friends, we were teenagers and still didn't sneak drinks or all that stuff because we knew how to have fun without it. Um, I don't feel bad telling somebody at their home, no, I don't want a glass of wine. I'll stick with water. Do you have tea? Do you have
Oh my
coffee?
God. This is the biggest thing I want to talk about, because when we're like on the topic of like, is your past holding you back? Um,
Mhm.
like this one's a big one, because like who you are right now, it's like that's who you are, and like you're defined by like being that person. Um,
Totally.
and like, if you're like have like a group of friends who like drink or smoke, it's like so hard to like let go of those habits, because you're like, who are gonna be my friends? And like that's who
Totally.
you're defined by, like who you hang out with.
And I think a lot of people have a fear of, if I change, I'm going to lose my friends.
Oh my God, that was me. That was me. That was me. I'm
Right?
like,
And I
that was
like
me. Like, if anybody here smokes cigarettes, if you go for a cigarette, like you literally get to talk to the people who are also smoking. And then, or like that was your way of making communication. So I'm like, holy
yeah.
shit, if I don't smoke, who am I gonna talk to?
Well, that's a lot of people, I think, and I don't think you're alone in that one for sure. Like I've always been like the stand up for your beliefs type person, and I
Yeah.
knew that if you weren't going to be part of my life because I stopped a habit that was harmful to me, I didn't want you in my life.
How did you develop that like that mindset though?
I've always had it, to be honest. My mom raised me
Mm-hmm.
to be very self-sufficient.
Mm.
My mom raised me for a long time to, just know that life is going to change. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And she
Oh,
always raised me with that backbone. Stand up for your beliefs, stand up for your beliefs, stand up for your beliefs. And so, like in high school, like I said, we didn't get into all that crap because my friends, I purposely chose friends that weren't going to do that. In
wow.
university, I was desperate. Like I moved provinces and everything else. And I didn't have that kind of backbone that I did. So I kind of got into some other things. I dated a bartender for once. And that was a big influence on my day to day because, bartender would
Of
make me
course,
drinks
yeah,
all
like
the
you're
time.
around alcohol all the time.
Exactly. Like I was so in Ontario, drinking age is 19, but I was 18. So because we were in
Oh,
Ottawa, we would go across the river into Gatineau. And I was probably almost 19 before I even actually stepped foot in a bar.
yeah.
Wasn't
No, I
interested in it.
I completely agree with you. And like, so who here is still watching? Drop some fire in the comments if you guys are currently watching. Want you
For
guys like
sure.
interacting, have like a conversation with us, be part of
Yeah,
this
this is
conversation.
this is
Um,
less like step 1, step 2 than we typically do. We wanted to
yeah,
have a conversation with you to tell you guys we have a past and how we broke that past to get through to our present selves. So I think
yes.
for me, the turning point was actually I did an exchange in Russia when I was 19.
Ooh, okay.
So I was living in Moscow by myself at 19, and they don't let you drink in the street there, but they do have there was a lot of drunkards in my area. So you could go to like this tiny convenience store, like shack thing, and buy booze. And like they wouldn't even try and hide it. They would grab their brown bag and they would be stumbling to and fro, and they still got sold to. And for me, that was a big, big turnoff because I saw what it did to them. And also being in Russia really screwed with my mindset. And this is where I'm gonna let you guys know this is not just about substances, it's also about my relationship with food. And I think Barbie's maybe in that category too. But I went there being a healthy North American girl. And there's kind of like two camps of women that you typically saw back then in Russia. Okay. There was like really skinny or really round. There was not a lot of in betweens.
Yeah.
So between the guys walking with all that booze and turning me away from alcohol, I also
Why did
had
that
this
turn you off from alcohol?
because they would sleep in the street and they would be stumbling everywhere. And I'm just like,
Oh,
no. I saw what it was able to do to them because it was easily accessible to them. So it kind of
yeah.
like turned my stomach, and people are like, oh, weren't you in Russia? Weren't you drinking Russian vodka? I actually never had Russian vodka while I was in Russia. So, yeah, needless to say, it screwed with my head being surrounded by all these women that were like stick thin, wearing high heels, always made up, or tiny round little babushkas, which is like grandma, that didn't really care. There was not a lot of variety in terms of people. So it got to my head and I started cutting all my calories. I started
Like,
going,
did you look at those women and be like, oh, I want to be like them because I see mostly like skinny women and like I live there. So like I kind of like,
kind
I
of.
don't know.
I was into working out and everything right before I got there too. I was a power lifter already. I knew my shit. But I would get looks because I had muscles. I would get looks because I was
That's
actively training.
Girl, that's literally me. Like I'm from Europe, and if you guys don't know, I was born in Hungary. So it's kind of like the same thing in Hungary too. Like women care. Like when I moved to Canada, it was like like people in Hungary are just like taking care of themselves, and you don't see many
Mhm.
like overweight people. But then coming to Canada, like I like ate so much junk food.
Yeah, it's kind of like that immigrant syndrome. Like I have a lot of friends who come international and it's that same story. They're like, "Oh my god, it's so accessible." So they eat it all.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so needless to say, it just screwed with my head in like my self-worth. People were always asking me if I was
Mhm.
an athlete, like sportsmenka, which just literally means like athlete. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't look at myself like an athlete. I was just trying to take care of myself. But I went to Russia a size 4. I came back a size 0 in 2 months. Not healthy. 2-a-day workouts, 1,200 calories, overtraining, crash and burn. Do
Yeah.
not do that.
So that was like the big significant event in your life that like made you change. And how do you think like talking about how was your past hold like is your past holding you back from reaching your fitness goals? Like how would you relate the two together?
Perfect question. So, to summarize my past, I have a past of mostly just drinking and lifting heavy shit and having a really interesting relationship with my body. Going to
Hmm.
another culture where people were very slender, like, their arms were the size of my calf. That screws with you. And I wasn't fat by any means, I was a size 4. So, what happened was it really associated and distorted my relationship with food. I actually ended up with orthorexia, which is obsession with what food enters your body.
Hmm.
I refused to eat more than 1,200 calories. I was terrified I wouldn't eat crazy amounts of fats. I was always going carbs, 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 because evidently that's what I needed to run on.
Right.
And I was deathly afraid to exit my size 0 pants, which is stupid because I have thick legs and getting them into zeros was interesting. So like leave it there.
Yeah.
But I was also always tired. My skin aged. Like I look younger now than I did when I was 19. Um
So
like
guys, just letting you know, nobody should be eating like 1,200 calories.
no, never. Not unless you're in a very aggressive comp whatever for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There's a purpose for those and you must be doing it supervised. So it really affected me long term. And so the results and the disaster of that relationship with food made me want to fix it. I decided to compete and I hired a coach, and it was not the right decision. She did not do a proper reverse diet, which is when you slowly increase food. She brought me from 1,200 calories a day to 3,600 calories a day. She literally tripled my food
That's
overnight.
insane. Guys,
Yeah.
like imagine you're eating like 2 meals to 6 meals.
Yeah. Quite
Like that's
literally.
a big like calorie change.
Yeah. Now, this coach has since passed away at the age of 30 from heart problems. So, if that tells you anything about her health, I'm not sure. I do not want to speak ill of the dead. She was a lovely human, but she did not do her professional
Yeah.
duty. I was jacked and ripped and crazy energy for the first month. And then I crashed and burned after week 6. Why? Well, my body caught up with me. And hello, metabolic syndrome, AKA I was super lean. And then my metabolism's like, what the fuck is going down? And I got super fluffy right before stage. I gained a ton of fat right before I had to go on the stage.
I seen those pictures. I remember you posted
Yeah.
them.
So totally detrimental, took another while to fix. So what I'm trying to say is that your relationship with your past does not have to define your future, but it will affect your future. So because of my toxic
Oh, that's a
relationship
good
with
point.
food, I got to pay the course for almost 5 years of a shitty metabolism, guys. Because of extra stressors and not managing my stress, I don't know if I activated or if it just happened, a genetic predisposition to have thyroid problems.
Yeah.
I am 29 with Hashimoto's disease, which is a disease that typically affects 45, 50-year-olds. I don't know if it was the stress from my business, the pandemic, or what. But what I'm trying to say is that I've been working through this for over 6 months in particular. My disease and my past do not define me. I am not identified by a name. I'm not identified by a diagnosis. And I am not identified or defined by what I did in my past. It does not make me a shitty person. And I only have the future to look forward to.
I love that. I think a lot of people do hold themselves back from going forward because of who they were or who they think they are because of what they've done. And that
Exactly.
has to do, like, same with you, like, you know, how you were eating so little and, you know, that caused some damage and stress and everything like that. And a lot of people use that as an excuse of like, oh, but I now developed this disease, so I can't do this or I can't do that. So I
Exactly.
completely agree with you on that. And yeah.
And you know what? It made me a better coach. Honestly, it made me a better coach to understand people who undereat. It made me a better coach to understand people with hormone conditions. That's what I chose to
Hmm.
specialize in now. I have a thyroid issue. I help people with hormone issues. You know, it brought me to become a better person overall. But I think before we went live, you were talking about, you know, how you can teach an old dog new tricks. How many people limit their beliefs? Like you said, you were afraid to lose your friends when you were smoking, right? How
Yes.
did you
And that's
break
such a
through that?
limiting belief.
Yes,
Honestly, like I just wanted to like quit so bad. That's a really good question. Like I don't know how I did it. I kind of just like did it and because I really wanted to. Like I think not being afraid of what people will say has been a huge thing in my life for me. Like
hmm
I don't know, like I think this is like the number one thing I live by is like don't care what other people think. And that's like what helped me to like not have to drink or go vegan even because I have
hmm
so many backlash and so many different opinions I got when I went vegan or
Yep.
when I quit cigarettes or when I just don't drink at parties. And I think the biggest thing is like not caring about what other people think and just following like what's true to you. And then the people that also believe it, you will like you'll attract those people. So if
How
anybody is like afraid to sorry, if anybody is afraid to like get out from where they are, there's always going to be people who resonate with you. And oh, another thing that
you're reading
I
my thoughts.
another thing that I like read or saw somewhere, it's like um why do you care about like everybody liking you when you don't even like everybody?
Right?
And I was like, oh shit, that's fact. Like, why
That's
do we care
facts.
about everybody's opinions if you don't even care about their opinion? Or like, if you don't like,
Yeah.
why do you care about everybody liking you if you don't like everybody?
Well, that's exactly it. And I think, guys, in case you don't know what a limiting belief is, it's a belief that you place on yourself to keep you trapped in a box. And once you learn how to reframe things in your mind as like, oh, I'm a smoker, I'll always be a smoker, or oh, I'm a smoker, so therefore I have shitty lungs, I can't do cardio. When you stop putting boxes around yourself,
Yes.
Barbie's living proof. You were a smoker for a while. Can you do
Mhm.
cardio with no problems now?
Yeah. So
When you
it's just,
started, did you have issues?
yeah, a little bit. Like, I couldn't run that long. And, um, you know, just not being like not living healthy lifestyle. Also, like, I wasn't like, obviously, it wasn't always working out. Like, I was not into working out. And, like, you know, I could have been like, oh, that's just not me. Or I don't know how to do it. But, like, just do it. And, like, yeah, just honestly, like, start telling yourself different things because you can become like somebody else. You don't have to like stay the same person forever.
Exactly. Liza, you're totally right. On Facebook, Liza saying good point to not care about other people's opinions. Right. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with you. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, you have to live with yourself. And one quote my mom always told me, she says, I want to live an I've done life, not a I could have done life. Meaning
Ooh, yes. That's
she
what
wants to
motivates
live a
me
life
too.
of right. She wants to live a life of things that she's done when she looks back on her life. She doesn't want to look back on her life on her deathbed and say, oh, I could have done that.
That's like the fucking worst thing because there's nothing you can do about that.
Exactly. So take the power in your own hands. Stop living by other people's boxes for you and start blasting through them. It makes a big difference on what you can do for your own potential.
Exactly.
And I guess
Oh, yes.
yeah, I think I have one more question for you and I just lost it. I guess, what about you? Like, how did you learn how to break through the boxes? How did you learn how to bust through them?
By the way, if you guys have questions, let us know in the comments. Let us know
For
what you
sure.
think. If you have questions, anything you want to add, anything about yourself. Like we would love to hear from you, everybody who's watching. So what was the question? Like, how did I break through
How did you
through through
blast through your limiting beliefs? So if you look back at your story, right? You were held
dude, honestly,
captive by
I think it's something that I've always done too. Like it's
yeah.
just like even when I was little, um, my parents like don't hang out with that person for certain reasons.
Mhm.
Hungarian people are kind of racist towards other cultures, so just people telling me like, oh, don't hang out with that race, and I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. So
Exactly.
I always been like that from a kid, and I was like if I thought it was like a good idea, I would still like do it. So
Mhm.
I think when I like Ben vegetarian, everyone's like, no, you need to eat meat. And I'm like, no, it's a good idea. So I went with it.
Yeah.
So I kind of just like never let I think it's just been never letting people like tell me.
Exactly. And like to be honest, guys, I've always been the weird kid. When I moved provinces when I was like 14, the popular kids were interested in hanging out with me because I was from a different place. And I
Yeah,
actually went and found like the nerdiest group of people and hung out with them instead because they were more genuine.
perfect.
Have zero interest of having fake people in my life. And I've always been that way too. And if you are somebody who feels defined by these boxes, I want to like give you a little bit of hope. It's okay to be a bit of an outcast and it's okay to do what's best for you. Be
Mhm.
kind to other people, don't be a dick. Still show up for your friends, but it's okay to set healthy boundaries within your life. Like that was the question I wanted to ask you. How do you tell people no at parties when there's peer pressure? How do you tell people no, you don't want to drink? How do you tell people
I
no,
just
you
I
don't
don't
want to
want to feel
smoke?
like shit, so I'm not gonna drink.
There you go.
And like no, I still have people telling me like, oh, just take a sip, and honestly, it gets like annoying sometimes.
Yeah,
But I just
stop
like
pressuring
what,
people,
and
dudes.
like you know what, even like sometimes feeling like out of place or like feeling like you don't belong, and honestly, sometimes I just pretend like with fucking water to like take a shot, and it just works just as well.
Honestly, yeah,
People don't
my
care; they just want you to like participate. So they don't care if you
yeah,
drink water or fucking juice. Sometimes I've done like cranberry juice, just chug that.
yeah. I've done. My secret is I will find Perrier or like bubbly, and I'll
Oh
just add
yeah.
some lime to my cup so it looks like a gin and tonic.
Ooh.
It looks like, and plus it's like no calories. It's just carbonation, so I'll be bloated, but I won't have that shitty feeling the next day. I'm hydrated, but it looks like a cocktail, so people fuck off.
Yes.
So that's one of my secrets right there. So it's okay to set healthy boundaries, is what we're trying to say. It's okay to break through those limiting beliefs that you place on yourself. And when you do so, you set your wings you set your wings free. So you have an unlimited amount of potential as long as you start to do the work.
Which is a scary part.
Barbie, did you ever think you'd be stepping on stage in like 3 months?
It was always in my mind, but that sounds really close.
Right?
That
Did
scares
you
me. I think I'm not scared yet, but I think I'll be scared the night before. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Did you ever think that, your teenage self would have a successful business
Never, never,
and that you'd be a fitness junkie and
never,
that you would not be drinking or smoking and living the life you
never,
live now?
never. I was
You
like,
told
Mom, this
me
is me forever.
Exactly. So it's okay to change as you change, friends. Don't be afraid of it. It's a beautiful
Exactly.
thing, and it's the only constant thing in life.
Hell yes. Any questions, guys? Any questions?
No, we just keep getting a lot of hellos on Instagram.
Hello, hello, hello. Wait, are you online live on your Instagram too, or is it just like on mine it shows?
Just on yours, I can see the comments.
Oh.
Sometimes I can see them, sometimes I can't. So, all right, I'm going to jump off on Facebook, dudes. We will see you
Okay,
later.
bye.